For people who've asked about my papers, what I keep on hand and how I keep them. So first of all, I keep mine in color order, rainbow order, rather than by color families. If I want a red, I don't want to have to guess which color family it's in. I just want to have all my reds together, all my pinks together. Second, I do store them in hanging file baskets. And the reason for that is I do not have enough room in my space for flat storage, and if I tried to store them in regular file folders, they would bend, so the hanging files help to keep them straighter. And yes, I do have every color on hand, and here's why. So there's actually two reasons why I like having all the colors in my drawer. I don't want to be frustrated by not having the right color when the mood strikes me for doing some sort of project. So here's one thing that I do. I do cut up little pieces like this, and I just label them with the color, and I keep them in a little 3x5 file box because, number one, that lets me lay them next to each other and see how well these colors work with each other. Maybe they're going to look good together, and maybe they're not going to look good together. But having the samples allows me the opportunity to see them laid out next to each other and decide if I like that color combination. The second reason, of course, is trying to match them to the colors in designer paper. So for the project I'm actually working on right now, I decided to use this little fox, and I thought that I would set him down because it's a vertical stacking of these little foxes. I thought it would look nice to put an accent strip. I didn't like it on the white because the white on the fox is not as intense, not as bright as the white in the design, the cardstock. So white cardstock, I didn't want to use that. I wanted to use some colored cardstock. So now that I've got all these samples, I can just lay them out and see what looks good. And of course the Cajun, which is the color of the fox, that's too much of that color. So here it is on beige. That's not bad. And if the only thing I had in my stash was the beige, well, then I'd use it on the project. But it's not quite right, especially when I play with some of these other options. Here it is on crumb cake. Here it is on early espresso, because that's the color of his feet down here. Here it is on pecan, which is totally not right, because there's no pecan in the designer paper, at least not in this pattern on the designer paper pack. But here it is on vanilla. And I like that look, because the vanilla works really well with the colors that are up here in that brush. So now I need to look at how am I going to put the rest of the layout on here. This is a pretty stark barrier, so having these strips of paper allows me to come back in and kind of play with things. Again, just testing to make sure that I like the color and the way the color is laid out. So I'm going to put a focal point over here. That would look okay. If I have a smaller size circle, I could layer something to put a sentiment over here. Maybe I want to play around with 3 of them, but having all these colors handy allows me the option to play as opposed to having an idea in my head, going to try to play, and then not having the right color. So my suggestion, Stampin' Up! Sells assortment packs. You can buy for each color family. You can buy an assortment pack that has a couple of sheets of every color in it. And I really recommend just getting yourself one of each of those assortment packs and having them on hand so you're never frustrated by not having the right color combination. If this was useful or interesting, give me a thumbs up. Let me know you like this kind of content, and follow me if you haven't done that already. I'm Katie Johnson. We'll catch you in the next video.